What up, YouTube? T Movies here. Now, since he's guest starring on The Connors, which premieres tonight, and since he's also supposed to be appearing as himself in the upcoming Zombieland sequel, which comes out next week, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Dan Aykroyd movies. Because the guys star on SNL. He's been he's done lots of stuff, whether it's comedies, he's done dramas, he even done horror, I believe. Gotta double check that, but I think he has done horror based stuff. I mean, who doesn't love Dan Aykroyd? The man, he's just an awesome actor, and the guy is funny. So, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite Dan Aykroyd movies. All right, coming in at number 10 is going to be the film Dragnet. Now, this is actually based on a 1950s or 60s TV show of the same name. It stars Dan Aykroyd as this detective sergeant named Joe Friday, who partners up with this wisecracking cop named Pep Streetback, played by Tom Hanks, and they pretty much end up being ordered to investigate a strange series of ritual killings and all. And so, Friday and Pep ends up doing their share of quarreling and all. And not to mention, Aykroyd's character Friday ends up becoming having a romance with a victim named Alexandra Paul, and it will also hinder his police work as well. Dragnet is not a great film, nothing like that. That's a really funny one. I always like the on-screen dynamic chemistry between Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. I mean, it's crazy that those two never done another film together, because Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd were both great in this. It had some really funny moments, some really funny lines. I mean, well, it's been a while since I've seen Dragnet. I gotta rewatch this movie again. I mean, it's a really good one. Alright. Now, coming in at number 9 is Neighbors. Not to be confused with the Seth Rogen and Zac Efron film. Neighbors was, sadly, it was, I gotta double check this, but it was actually one of John Belushi's final films before before he passed away at the age of 33. And in it, John Belushi plays this straight-laced suburbanite who has trouble dealing with his neighbor, played by Dan Aykroyd and Kathy Morati.
Yeah.
And so it's I guess you could say it's a little bit like this Seth Rogen Zac Efron film, where instead of being instead of Dan Aykroyd's character being like a wildly frat boy and all, it's pretty much like a couple that's being annoying and all. So he has to try to find a way to pretty much to fed up with them and yell out the neighborhood and stuff like that. It's Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, those two they've worked together great before. I mean, obviously, the couple of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd movies are in this list. And, it's also directed by John Landis, who directed Aykroyd and Belushi and a lot of stuff. And it was pretty cool seeing, to see, John Belushi, playing stretch out his, acting and play against type and all, instead of being the instead of being the wacky, funny, dummy guy he was in Animal House, he played a straight-laced dude, while Dan Aykroyd played the wildly neighbor. And yeah, I really got to kick out Neighbors. I mean, if you guys never seen it, give it a go. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be down to see a remake. I mean, maybe you get Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson in a remake. That would be cool. But anyway. Well, obviously, you gotta call it something else, but anyway. Coming in at number 8 is another John Landis film, and that will be Spies Like Us. Now, this is a really classic comedy it is this classic spy comedy that teamed up Dan Aykroyd with Chevy Chase, who, by the way, today's Chevy Chase's 71st birthday. Half birthday, Chevy Chase. But, wait, 71 or... I can't remember how old Chevy Chase is now. I think he's 74 or something. I gotta double check that. But, still, happy birthday, Chevy Chase. He's the man. Anyway. Now, in it, Chase and Aykroyd plays these two less than intelligent government employees who think that they have been promoted two jobs as spies, but like they they end up pretty much just being like used as a decoy to so like Russian nuclear bombs don't like find another actual set of more like competent spies and all. And you got Donna Dixon as Aykroyd's wife. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's because this was kind of a spoof on Family Guy. Remember the Family Guy episode where Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase moved into Cleveland's old house, and Stewie and Brian had to decide to become spies, solve like them as well. So Family Guy kind of played off spies like us. So I always get a chuckle out of that Family Guy episode because of spies like us. I mean, it's a shame that they never really went ahead in this sequel because I would love to have seen Aykroyd and Chase play these roles again. I mean, Spies Like Us, it's also not a great film, but it's really hilarious. I mean, it's really a classic spy based comedy. It's like pretty much like a comedy version of James Bond, if you want to look at it that way. Really fun film. All right, coming in at number 7 is My Girl. Now, I've already talked about this movie with the Macaulay Culkin list. Oh man, My Girl, you're gonna need some tissues while you're watching this movie. I mean, that beast scene. Oh god. There's literally times when I watch that beast scene and I just had to cut my eyes with that scene. That is literally gut wrenching. And you're gonna need some tissues with that scene. But anyway, here Dan Aykroyd actually plays pretty much plays like the widowed funeral director of the and you also got Mara Wilson's you got really Mara Wilson's character who's actually the daughter of Aykroyd's character, and you also got Jamie Lee Curtis also plays Aykroyd's like love interest here, or really wife I should say. My Girl is such a really terrific film. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. It's literally a touching film. And Dan Aykroyd also appeared in My Girl 2, but I never cared for My Girl 2. The first My Girl is the best. I mean, I don't. Why did they do a sequel? It's still beyond me, but so if you guys never really seen if you guys never really seen My Girl, watch it. But caution, bring tissues while you're watching it. Anyway. Alright, coming in at number 6 is going to be Driving Miss Daisy. Now, Dan Aykroyd plays the son of Jessica Tandy's character who ends up, and he of course ends up hiring this black chauffeur played by Morgan Freeman to really to like drive Jessica Tandy's character around and all. And of course, it's a film about friendship. I mean, granted, this is a little cheating because Dan Aykroyd is barely in the movie. Like, he's in a very good chunk of the film, but he's not in it a whole lot as you expect. But Aykroyd actually still scored an Oscar nomination for this. And fun fact, sorry about that. Anyway, fun fact: Dan Aykroyd ended up becoming the first SNL cast member to get a Oscar nomination. So there's a little tidbit for you there. But yeah, Driving Miss Daisy. It's also very touching, very heartfelt. If you guys never seen it, give that one a shot. All right. Coming in at number 5 is going to the film The Great Outdoors. Now, this film is also directed by Howard Deutsch, who gave us Pretty in Pink. Now, The Great Outdoors has been news not so long ago because, speaking of Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart is actually supposed to do a remake of The Great Outdoors. I don't know if it's still on the table or not, but I'm down to see one. Anyway, now, this film, I guess you could say, is similar to that 1981 film Neighbors that I was talking about. And it paired Dan Aykroyd with John Candy. And in it, John Candy, plays like this Chicago man named Chet Ripley, who, along with his wife named Connie, played by Stephanie Farkey, and their 2 kids, Buck and Ben, decide to like go on like a pretty much go on like a weekend of fishing at a Wisconsin lakeside cabin, but they end up getting crashed by Connie's obnoxious brother-in-law Raymond Craig, played by Aykroyd, as well as his like wife played by Annette Bening, and the couple's two daughters. And so it becomes like it's sort of like the movie Neighbors, but but out in the wilderness instead of the suburbs. The Great Outdoors. I mean, also have an iconic bear here. I mean, come on, and it's a really funny flick. I really like the dynamic on-screen tensions between Candy and Aykroyd. Those two were great together. And I mean, if you guys never really seen The Great Outdoors, give it a go. It's a 1980s classic comedy right there. All right. Coming in at number 4 is Coneheads. Now, Coneheads is based on the SNL skit that also starred Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin. So, since the skit was like a hit with audience and all, they actually decided to do a film version of it, and I love Coneheads. Besides Aykroyd and Curtin, you also had really cool supporting players. Like you had Adam Sandler appear in this, Chris Farley, David Spade, Sinbad, Phil Hartman, Jason Alexander, Ellen DeGeneres appeared in this film. Really great film. And you also got Michelle Burke, who played their teenage daughter, who ends up having a romance with Chris Farley's character. I mean, Chris Farley was hilarious in that. Yeah, again, Chris Farley was always great. Gone way too soon. R.I.P. Chris Farley. But yeah, Conan. I mean, it was pretty cool seeing these are pretty much aliens with cones as heads, and it's a really fun one. I mean, if you guys never really got a chance to check out the night, I don't remember when it got released. I think 1994 or 1995. I know it got released in the early 90s. If you guys never seen Coneheads by now, do yourself a favor, watch Coneheads. And I gotta say, I'll be down to see Dan Aykroyd reprise his role once again. I'd love to see another Coneheads in the future, whether it's a movie or a TV thing. Give us some more Coneheads, Aykroyd. Come on. You always talk about Ghostbusters and all. Give us more Coneheads. Anyway. Alright, coming in at number 3 is Trading Places. Now, I've been talking about this movie a lot. I just did my 10 favorite Eddie Murphy movies, and Trading Places was in that list. And now doing best Dan Aykroyd movies, and Trading Place is in this list. I mean, who doesn't love Trading Places? You got Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, who ends up trading places for one another. You also the aftermath of Jamie Lee Curtis is also in this. So Curtis and Aykroyd ended up working together before years before My Girl got released, and Trading Places was also directed by what's his face, John Landis. I mean, John Landis is a man. I mean, shame he doesn't direct anymore, but yeah, Trading Places is a really hysterical one. I mean, it was pretty cool seeing two iconic SNL stars together in this. And they both really work together well. I mean, if you guys never really seen Trading Places by now, go check it out. I mean, you got Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd in this. Those two need to do another film together. I'd love to see them do something else in the near future. Alright. Coming in at number 2 is going to be The Blue Brothers. Now, The Blue Brothers is such an iconic film. You got these pretty much these two brothers played by you got John Belushi who ends up being released from prison, and he reunites with his brother Elwood, played by Dan Aykroyd, and they decide to start a band so that way they could raise $5,000 to pay back taxes and all. And they also end up pretty much making a few enemies, including the police, few. They also meet up with a couple of classic musicians. You had some music icons in this. You had Ray Charles appeared on this. Aretha Franklin. I mean, you had some cool musicians were in this, and it was also directed by John Landis. And yeah, John Landis is the man. He worked with Dan Aykroyd so many times. And of course, they also did Blue Brothers 2000 with John Goodman. But yeah, I mean, go watch Blue Brothers. You don't have to borrow Blue Brothers 2000. Blue Brothers 2000 is horrible. But I cannot wait to see the reunion between Aykroyd and Goodman on tonight's Connors. But still, it's kind of still weird that in the sequel they got John Goodman to star instead of getting James Belushi, because not so long ago, Dan Aykroyd and James Belushi actually appeared together as the Blue Brothers on an SNL 40 anniversary special. That made me want to see another Blue Brothers. I mean that scene, like that thing, like that performance with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi's brother, by the way, James Belushi, coming out and performing performing a Blue Brothers song together. That was the highlight of that whole get night. I mean, it literally made me want to see another Blue Brothers. I mean, come on, Dan Aykroyd and James Belushi, give us more Blue Brothers. I'll love to see more of them. But anyway, if you guys literally never seen the original Blue Brothers, give it a go. And so, pretty good. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Dan Aykroyd, and John Belushi, those two were heavy hitters back in the days, and it's a shame that we're probably never gonna see other performers quite like other pairings quite like Aykroyd and Belushi, but if you guys definitely go check out Blue Brothers. Anyway, all right, now Dan Aykroyd's best film, in my opinion, goes to Ghostbusters. I mean, I probably could have added Blue Brothers as number one, but I'm choosing Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is pretty much Aykroyd's most iconic film. It's not directed by John Lennon this time. It's directed by Ivan Reitman, and you got Bill Murray. Dan Aykroyd's character, of course, is Ray Stanton. I mean, he's like he smokes a lot of cigarettes. I mean, like drop the cigarettes, guy. And I really quite like Dan Aykroyd as the role of Ray. I mean, he played that role really well. And of course, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson were all great. I mean, Ghostbusters is one of the most iconic and quintessential films of the 1980s. It has a great soundtrack. You also had Sigourney Weaver was also in this. You even had Rick Moranis. I mean, Ghostbusters is such a great one. Ghostbusters 2 was pretty decent too, but I still prefer the original. And I know this is gonna get a lot of hate, but I quite like the female Ghostbusters with Melissa McCarthy. Although I would say one right now, Dan Aykroyd's cameo in that was wasted. Now I know we are getting another Ghostbusters next summer with Jason Reitman directing, and I know Aykroyd is supposed to appear in as well. I am hoping that Dan Aykroyd's part in the new Ghostbusters will be much better than his little cameo in the 2016 one. So, but yeah, if you guys never really seen the original Ghostbusters, it's definitely a classic one. But that's pretty good. Let me do the quick rundown. 10 Dragnet, 9 Neighbors, 8 Spies Like Us, 7 My Girl, 6 Driving Miss Daisy, 5 The Great Outdoors, 4 Coneheads, 3 Trading Places, 2 Blue Brothers, 1 is Ghostbusters. Alright, now there's loads of other ones I probably could have added. Let's see, Nothing But Trouble, that's a good one. Unpopular opinion, but I kind of got kicked out of his Yogi Bear movie that got released in 2010. It's not that great of a film, but I saw got kicked out of it. He was also in Steven Spielberg's Twilight Zone movie. He was in Tommy Boy, speaking of Chris Farley. He was in Grosse Point Blank with John Cusack. He was in Steven Spielberg's other film, 1941, Dr. Detroit. He was in Pearl Harbor. He's worked with Adam Sandler loads of times with 51st States and Chuck and Larry. And he also appeared in Pixels. He was also in Christmas with the Cranks. The Curse of Jade Scorpion, My Fellow Americans. Exit to Eden with Rosie O'Donnell. He was in The Campaign, Get On Up. He was in that movie Tammy with Melissa McCarthy. He was in the movie Ants, Loser with Jason Biggs. He was in Caddyshack 2, which we don't talk about. He was in Behind the Candelabra with Michael Douglas. He was in Celtic Pride with Damon Wayans. That's a good one. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd's the man. I'm looking forward to see his guest spot on the Connors. But anyway, Let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Dan Aykroyd movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here's Team Movie signing off.